Today we're going to be talking about weakness. I know we normally talk about spiritual gifts and our strengths and how those can how those can bring glory to God. But we often forget to focus and talk about our struggles and our faults and where we fall short and how those can also honor God just as much. And so one thing that I struggle with as a weakness is anxiety. And so I'm going to tell you guys a story about a time that I was really anxious. And so I went to Costa Rica when I was 16 years old with Impact. And I was praying the whole time before I went, like, God, like, I really want this to be a good trip. Like, please don't let anything bad happen to me. Like, please just help me, like, basically not to die, because it was the first time I'd been out of the country without my parents. And so everything was going good, and it was like the middle of the week, and we were painting in a house, and I felt like my leg was starting to hurt, and I was like, oh my goodness, like, what is this? So I went and like pulled up my pant leg, and I had like a bug bite on my leg, and instead of acting like a normal person would, I totally freaked out and went up to the leaders and basically was like, I'm going to die, I need help. And so they were like, it's okay, like, we'll figure it out. And so, the reality is that like the bug bite like wasn't the issue. It was my anxiety and like all the stress I was feeling and how I was just like not really like ready to deal with it. And so like what do we do with our weaknesses? We hide them. We ignore them. And so I watch my friends struggle with their weaknesses and try to hide them. And so I also remember when I was in 6th grade, there was this boy that liked me. And on Valentine's Day, he gave me a box of chocolates, and instead of taking it like a normal person, I freaked out and just shoved it in my locker and closed my locker and ignored it for 6 months. So you can guess what happened to them? They started to rot, and they started to smell bad, and people would be like, Abby, what's wrong with your locker? And I'd be like, don't worry about it, it's fine. And so I think that's what we do with like our weaknesses. We hide them, we put them in lockers, we shut them, and we forget about them. But the thing is, we can't forget about them because they're rotting inside of us. And so what do we do about this? So Paul says in 2 Corinthians 12, 7 through 9, so to keep me from becoming conceited because of the surpassing greatness of the revelations, a thorn was given to me in the flesh, a messenger of Satan to harass me, to keep me from becoming conceited. 3 times I pleaded with the Lord about this, that it should leave me. But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore I will boast all the more gladly of my weakness, so that the power of Christ may rest upon me. So Paul wrote this verse, sending it as a letter to the church in Corinth. And he mentions a thorn that he has. And he doesn't really say what the thorn is, and I think but that's really cool because the thorn is different for every single one of us. For some people, it could be depression, it could be anxiety, it could be worrying about what other people think about you, it could be stressing about homework. And I think that Paul doesn't say what it is because he knows that we all struggle with each of our own things and that we need to come to Christ with that. But we don't do that. What do we do with our weaknesses? We hide them. We try to ignore them, but that's never enough. And so we need something else to keep them from rotting inside us and tearing us down. And what we need is simple. It's grace. It's just like the locker. The reality is, I could have cleaned the locker out. I could have opened it up. I could have taken the candy out. I could have sprayed some Febreze and gotten rid of the smell. But the thing is, I can't do that with my own heart. Jesus is the only one that can do that. And my heart is holding all this pain and all this weakness, this thing that's rotting inside of me, and it's just breaking me down. But Paul says that Christ is sufficient, and that he can take those things that we're struggling with, depression, anxiety, stress. He can take all those and nail them to the cross. And that's the gospel. His grace is enough. His grace is given to us, and we don't deserve it, and we can't do it alone. We need Christ. And so I'm going to leave you guys with this, just to think about, what are you hiding in your locker? What do you not want people to see?